In this video, I'm going to show you how to use your graphing calculator to input a data set and calculate some of the statistics that we learn in Module 4. For this video, I'm going to be using the data set that is from Module 4, Part 3, Example 2. So the first thing we want to do is we want to put our data set into a list. To do that, I'm going to hit the Stat button, which is right here located next to the left arrow. And now that I'm in here, this is a list of all the things that I can do with my list. So I can edit my lists, I can sort my lists in ascending order, sort them in descending order, clear the lists, or set up an editor. So I want to edit my lists. Okay. And here we can see that I already have some data in my first list. So I want to go ahead and clear that out so I can re-enter in the correct data set. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to hit the up arrow. Notice now that my cursor on my calculator has highlighted over the L1. I'm going to hit the clear button, which is directly underneath the down arrow, and then I'm going to hit the enter button. This will clear out everything in my list all at once, so I don't have to do each thing individually. So I'm going to go ahead and enter in the data, hitting enter in between each data value. All right, and then let's say this last value I accidentally entered in 12,000 instead of 1,200. I can fix that by hitting the up arrow and highlighting over the value that I inputted incorrectly, and then just retyping what the value should have been and hitting enter. Additionally, if I have too many values, so let's say I accidentally entered 120 twice, and now I have two 120s in my data set when I should only have one, I can highlight up over the incorrect value or the extra value, and next to the left arrow is a DEL, which stands for delete button. So I hit delete and it just deletes that value. So here is our data entered into our calculator. I'm going to scroll all the way back up to the top. Okay, so it's all entered. So now I'm going to quit out of this menu. Oh, it's still scrolling. So I'm going to quit out of the editor by hitting the second button and then the mode button. Notice on top of it, it has quit in blue. Anything you see in blue, you're going to be able to do that if you hit the second button first. So I hit second mode and that quits out of that editor. So now I want to show you one cool feature that you can do with your list. So if I come back into stat, so right now my list is actually sorted in ascending order. So let's say I wanted to sort it in descending order. I could arrow down to the 3 and hit enter. So now it's going to sort this list in descending order. So I just need to tell it what list to go and look at. Now all of my data was in list 1. So if you notice on top of the 1 here, there is an L1 in blue. So remember, to do anything that's in blue on this calculator, I'm going to hit the second button, and then I'm going to hit the 1, and now I'm going to hit enter. So now if I go back into the list editor by hitting stat and then enter, I can see that my data is now sorted in descending order. So you can sort it in ascending order using number 2 or descending order using number 3. This is a really convenient way to be able to find the mode of a data set because there is no shortcut for it. This is just the best way that we can do that. Okay, so I'm going to quit just one more time, take us back to the main screen, clear that out. Alright, now we want to go ahead and calculate some statistics with this data set. So I'm going to show you how you can use a single screen to find the mean, the sample standard deviation, the population standard deviation, and the 5-number summary. So I'm going to hit stat, I'm going to arrow over to Calc. So I just hit the right arrow once, so now my cursor on my screen is over Calc. And we want this first option here, number 1, which is 1 var stats. That means we're going to calculate some statistics for a single variable. So I'm going to go ahead and hit enter. Okay. Now at this point I want to tell the calculator which list to go and look in for my data set. So the default is for L1, so I don't need to change that. And then I'm going to come down, I'm going to hit calculate. If your screen does not give you a menu like this one does, it just shows up on the screen and it says 1 var stat up on the top. Again, the default is going to be list 1, so if your data is in list 1, you can just hit enter. Otherwise, you need to use the second button and the numbers to tell your calculator which list your data set is in. So now I'm going to hit enter. And here we go. We have all of the statistics for this data set. So this very first number here, this x bar equals 73, that is our sample mean. Then we have a couple of summations that have been done with our data set. We don't really need those for this course, so we can just ignore them. The next one here is this SX. This is going to be the sample standard deviation for our data set. This next guy, this little funky O, this is that sigma, which stands for the population standard deviation. So here's this population standard deviation. We have our sample size for our data, which was 13, and then we have the 5-number summary. So remember that consists of the minimum data value, so the smallest data value, the first quartile, the median, the third quartile, and finally we have the maximum. So this is most of the values that we looked at how to find in Module 4, all in one convenient menu in our graphing calculators. So that's it for this calculator tutorial, and we'll see you